Hi, my name is Cassandra Haig, and this is my video presentation about the project that I chose to do for my internship class for the Hospitality and Tourism Management program here at Stockton University. Throughout this semester, I worked at a restaurant called Social 37 located in Toms River, New Jersey. It is a fairly new restaurant, just opened this past summer, so it's almost at its 1-year anniversary. As a hostess, we use Open Table, so I use this system to help myself and the other hostesses know when tables are being bussed or when their checks are dropped or paid, to really try and optimize our seating and seat as many walk-ins as possible along with the reservations to help the restaurant get as much revenue as possible throughout the night. So for my project that I'm doing for this class, I decided to do a training plan for the hostesses that will be coming in very soon. We're about to train one more coming in this week, so I wanted to make sure that she and any other hosts or hostesses that come in after I leave are able to know everything throughout their training and not feel uncomfortable going into a day by themselves and feel like they're going to get bombarded with things that they weren't taught during their training. So I started with just doing a list of everything that I and the other hostesses realized that we do. It was a lot longer than I expected because, you don't realize how much you do until you really write it down. So it started with this list, and then I turned it into a more organized list to go through and see which day you would learn that task. And also, it would give you the ability to know what the trainee learned in their other days of training or what they weren't able to get to. So throughout the shift or at the end of the shift, the trainee would check off what they learned right here. And the trainer for the next shift, which in this instance would be the weekend night shift, would be able to look and see what tasks they weren't able to get from the night before, and therefore be able to take the time to go back and show them how to do it. For instance, one thing that we don't do all the time is sell a gift card. So if during their morning training shift no one comes in to buy a gift card, it's really difficult to show someone on the computer how to do it without actually doing it. So if they were unable to learn it during their morning training shift and someone comes in during the weekend night or the weekday night shift, this way the trainer will know to show them how to do it when they're selling the gift card. I think that this will really help during the training process for the hostesses, because I know when I trained there were a lot of things that I wasn't really taught right away, but I think it's definitely important, especially with Open Table, to know how to do everything right off the bat, so that way you can get more comfortable with it faster and know how to do everything without having to ask for help all the time. So from here, I decided to go a little bit more in depth and make a little booklet for the hostesses to be able to keep up at the hostess stand. This way, in case they do forget how to do something, or if they aren't able to do something all the time, or if something is skipped during training, it's right here written out all how to do it step by step. There are a lot of different things that you can do with Open Table. There's more than one way of doing something. There's like 10 different little things that you don't have to do, but it makes it easier to do it. And it definitely keeps you more organized, like changing the status of the tables or making sure that you have the proper servers in the right sections. So I think that this booklet is definitely going to help. For instance, if you have 2 or 3 different hostesses that are training you, they may all do something a different way. So when you're seating the table, one might drag the name to the table, the other one might change the number next to the name and then press seat. And as a new trainee, that might get confusing. So I think this booklet will definitely help, because it will have everything written out so you can look for what you're trying to figure out, and then it'll have step-by-step instructions on how to do it. And lastly, I just took some screenshots from our iPad, which also has an open table app that we're able to use, so we can walk around the restaurant and change the status of the table to make it easier. And there's a lot of little things on there that I honestly just figured out how to do after being there for a few months. So I just wanted to lay all that out for them so that they can maybe utilize the iPad more than I was ever able to. So that was my project. I decided to do a write-up instead of a how-to video just because I figured having the write-up and explanations on how to do things right at the Hostess stand would be utilized a lot more and just be easier to use for them, and it would just be right at their fingertips and they wouldn't have to go to YouTube and see a tutorial all the time, which there's plenty of them on YouTube, so if they want to watch them, they are there for them to use, but this way they have everything right next to them so they don't have to do that. I know that this project obviously isn't finished. There are a lot of things on OpenTable that I myself probably didn't find or didn't figure out or couldn't figure out, and OpenTable will end up adding things onto their system, upgrading it, changing it, so this project isn't set in stone, but I think it is something that will be very helpful to the hostesses currently, and I really hope that they utilize it. Altogether, I'm really happy with the way my project came out, and I really hope that it does help the hostesses and help the future hostesses go through training a lot easier and make sure that they are learning everything. And I also think that this project was a great way for me to see sort of how a manager would go through creating something like this. And I'm really excited to show this to my managers and the other hostesses to see what they think.